America has a math problem.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for 10 ways in which the United States has transformed from Reagan's shining city on a hill to a cautionary tale for the world.
And what you know as a historian is that there is no such thing as a ship that can't sink.
Global influence waning. For much of the 20th century, the United States stood as the undisputed global leader.
Like it or not, we are the leader of the free world.
It was the glue holding the post-World War II order together. America set the cultural, political, and economic tone for the world. Today, that dominance is slipping.
China's influence on the world stage has been growing and America's has been declining. It seems to have accelerated in the last few months.
Rising isolationism and abrupt trade wars have eroded international trust. Allies question U.S. commitments in NATO and climate accords. Rivals like China sense opportunity and are filling the vacuum on the global stage. Once seen as the model for democracy, the U.S. now finds its image tarnished by popularization. The change is tangible. International tourism has fallen sharply.
The World Travel and Tourism Council says America is on track to lose $12.5 billion in international visitor spending this year.
America doesn't seem as safe or as welcoming as it used to. Expensive visa fees, tougher screening, and anti-immigration sentiment scare off many would-be tourists.
We need to let travelers around the world know that we want their business.
Demographic aging crisis. America is graying fast. About 18% of Americans are 65 or older today. By 2030, that number will climb to almost 1 in 5.
In about a third of states, more than half of the population is older than 40.
4 years later, seniors will outnumber children under 18 for the first time in U.S. history. A shrinking workforce means fewer taxpayers to fund Social Security and Medicare.
We have very significant increases in benefits on the horizon, but we haven't planned for those with increases in taxes.
Hospitals and nursing homes already face staffing shortages as demand grows. Families are getting squeezed on both ends. Childcare costs remain prohibitive for much of the public. Elder care is becoming just as necessary and as expensive.
So we saw our savings dwindle and dwindle and dwindle.
Rural towns feel the sharpest strain, with aging populations outpacing available services. This is a demographic time bomb that could cripple the U.S. economy.
Care shouldn't be a political issue. We should be looking at the life cycle of care that citizens need from birth through end of life.
Dropping life expectancy. For the first time in generations, Americans are living shorter lives. U.S. life expectancy fell to just over 76 years in 2022.
And now dozens of countries are surpassing the U.S., including Lebanon, the Czech Republic, and Cuba.
Only 3 years earlier, life expectancy was nearly 3 years longer. The pandemic accelerated the drop, but it was already underway. Rising rates of heart disease, diabetes, and gun violence are all part of the story.
Well, health is about more than health care, and as a doctor, I often have to emphasize that.
The most devastating factor is the opioid crisis, which now kills more than 80,000 Americans a year. The FDA's failure to regulate powerful painkillers unleashed an epidemic that still devastates communities.
The companies clearly knew what was happening. They knew exactly where their pills were going.
Compared to other wealthy nations, America lags in life expectancy by years. A society once defined by longevity now struggles to keep its people alive.
Individual responsibility is certainly one area. Second, providing healthcare systems and adequate services to assist people so that they will live to old age.
Crumbling infrastructure. If infrastructure acts like the arteries keeping people, goods, and services flowing, America is on the verge of a heart attack.
Imagine a month-long blackout. Imagine major failures of water delivery system in the West. Imagine levee breakdowns that can't be repaired.
Roads, bridges, water systems, and power grids built decades ago are breaking down. The American Society of Civil Engineers gives U.S. infrastructure a C grade, with storm weather and transit earning Ds. Even after a $1 trillion federal investment, streets remain pitted with potholes. More than 46,000 bridges are structurally deficient.
In the next 10 years, over 50% of our bridges will be over 50 years old. We're kind of heading towards a perfect storm.
Congestion costs commuters billions of hours every year. Water systems leak enough to waste trillions of gallons annually.
This raging torrent on a commuter highway was the result of a water main break. In this case, a break in a 66-inch pipe.
Experts warn the decay is more than an inconvenience, it's a national security threat. A nation once defined by its interstate highways and engineering marvels now struggles just to keep the lights on.
A 100-year event in 2000 will look like a 10-year event in 2050. The reality is, we're essentially living in borrowed time.
Uncontrollable national debt. The United States is drowning in red ink. The national debt hit a record $37 trillion in 2025, more than the entire annual GDP.
There's no shortage of voices sounding the alarm about the national debt. America's borrowing levels are currently the same size as the entire economy and are expected to skyrocket from here.
Interest payments alone are projected to surpass defense spending within a decade. That means fewer resources for schools, infrastructure, or disaster relief. Both parties have piled on costs through tax cuts, wars, and pandemic aid, without reining in spending or raising revenues.
The Tax Foundation estimates that a 10% universal tariff could bring in trillions of dollars, but that revenue would diminish when accounting for the broader economic impact.
Public alarm is rising. 72% of Americans now see the debt as a major threat to the nation's future, according to Pew. Economists warn that rising interest rates make this spiral harder to escape.
The thing about the national debt is it affects basically everything in our economic lives, and then some, but we don't see it, we don't feel it, and many people don't realize it.
What was once a distant worry is now a lit powder keg sitting at the heart of the U.S. economy.
Let's face it. It's not likely the U.S. government debt is going to be paid back anytime soon.
Extreme political polarization. America is fracturing along ideological lines. Democrats and Republicans no longer just disagree. They increasingly see each other as the enemy.
America is in a very angry moment. Republicans attack Democrats, and Democrats return fire.
Pew finds that around 2/3 of Americans view the opposing party negatively, the highest in modern history. The divide isn't only political, it's cultural, geographic, and generational.
Younger voters are half as likely to say that patriotism is an important value. They're half as likely to say that America is the best place that they'd want to live. They're much more concerned about capitalism and see more promise in socialism.
That polarization has eroded a shared sense of American identity and patriotism. National holidays and symbols no longer unify the way they once did. At the same time, faith in the system itself has collapsed.
Oh, these beloved politicians are having actual debates about the filibuster because they care about Senate traditions. No one at home believes that.
Only 4% of Americans say the political system is working well. Majorities across both parties believe it's utterly broken. A system intentionally designed to be slow in 1787 cannot keep up with modern needs.
I sort of think that it's going to be hard for us to turn things around in America.
Democratic backsliding. American democracy is under visible strain. It may even be on the verge of snapping.
The latest alarm bell is an NGO report that lists the United States for the first time ever as a backsliding democracy.
Scholars warn of democratic backsliding, a gradual erosion of checks and norms that safeguard free government. States have moved to limit ballot access and reshape election administration. Partisan gerrymandering entrenches power and distorts representation, dulling the impact of majority rule.
It's wrong because here we are a majority state, but yet the majority of the people, right, don't have any kind of representation.
On a national level, President Trump has set America on a collision course with fascism. He spread false claims about the 2020 election and pressured officials to overturn results.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Worse, he openly pledged to use his second term to punish opponents and weaken institutions. He is on pace to keep his promises. A country that once exported democracy abroad now faces urgent questions about whether it can preserve its own.
You know you're living in a fascist society when you're constantly going over in your head the reasons why you're safe. What we want is a country where none of us have to feel that way.
Children left behind in education. The classroom is in crisis. NAEP shows steep drops in reading and math scores, reaching multi-decade lows.
The results are sobering.
Public schools remain underfunded and teachers overburdened, leaving millions of kids behind. American science is slipping as China surges in publications, patents, and clinical trials.
Now to a major medical breakthrough. A new Chinese cancer medicine is shocking the world with how effective it is.
The culture needed to support educational excellence is fraying too. Only 16% of Americans read for pleasure in 2023, down from 28% in 2004.
Because let's face it, even if we're people who really like to read, compared to doing other things, the act of reading is really boring.
Amid this decay, a new threat looms. Researchers warn that uncritical reliance on generative AI to crank out essays or answers is a danger to our students. It can erode creativity and critical thinking skills.
It's not going to benefit a student to present a picture of themselves that's inauthentic, that's just not true in some cases, because then you don't land in the right place.
A country is incapable of international leadership if its children can't keep up. Crippling mental health epidemic. America is in the middle of a mental health emergency. Nearly 1/3 of adults now report symptoms of anxiety or depression.
We have become professionals at putting on masks on and walking around society and making it seem like everything is going fine, like we don't need any help, that there's nothing to see here. We do that in person, we do that on our social media feeds. But what it betrays is the reality of what's happening is that a lot of people are walking around suffering.
At the same time, access to mental health care is, for many, virtually non-existent. Nearly 130 million Americans live in areas with too few providers.
We really wanted to understand why is it that even when you have insurance, it can be so hard to access mental health treatment. And what people don't realize is that insurance companies play a big role in this and have a big say in how much treatment you get.
Most states meet less than 40% of their mental health care needs. America's health insurance system makes treatment financially impossible for millions. Children and teens are struggling too, with psychologists calling youth mental health a sustained crisis.
How long have the wait lists been to get help?
Normally you're put on, you're scheduled an appointment within a few months. And then
months?
Yeah. And then if you want a child psychiatrist, that you're looking at like months to a year.
The public is fully aware of the problem. 90% of Americans say the nation faces a mental health crisis. Therapy use is up, but desired outcomes aren't by nearly every measure. Well-being continues to decline.
Even though the problems that we've described here and the drivers of those problems are really profound and entrenched and structural in nature, that doesn't mean that we as individuals can't make a difference in the mental health and well-being of people around us.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Inequality is out of control. America has become a nation of extremes. It's the wealthiest nation on Earth, but the distribution of that wealth is more concentrated at the top than ever before.
The rich appear to be getting richer, and it may be at the expense of everyone else.
The rich are just getting richer, pulling away from everyone else. The top 10% of households now command nearly 70% of the nation's wealth. Meanwhile, the bottom half holds almost nothing. Student debt has become a modern-day shackle. $1.6 trillion is owed, locking millions of young people out of careers, homes, and families.
In July, an estimated 1.8 million people are at risk of defaulting on their student loans, meaning they haven't made a single payment in nearly 9 months.
Housing, once the cornerstone of the American dream, has turned into a trap. Rents swallow paychecks, and homeownership drifts out of reach. The dream of upward mobility is fading, replaced by a reality where opportunity is scarce and prosperity is hoarded by the few.
Unless we can get an accurate number of just how prevalent poverty is in the United States, attempting to eradicate it is close to impossible.
Are there other factors that point to America going the way of ancient Rome? Can the trends be reversed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
About 42% of high schoolers say they constantly feel sad or hopeless. That's up more than 50% from 1999.